Okay, welcome to the Quizzical Spirit podcast. I'm Ross Hightower,
And I'm Deb Heim.
and so one thing we want to mention today is that we've made it all the way, almost all the way through the climax for Ostera, which is a sequel to Argon Blue and kind of a parallel book to the Zoltai, which comes out November 1st, and we're pretty thrilled about the way that book's turning out. So today we're going to talk about. I go to a group on Saturday mornings with writers in the Milwaukee area, and they all gather together and write. And there's an author there who is a pretty successful author, writes mysteries. And I was talking to him, and his very first book in his first series was doing okay, and he got a book bump deal. Now, for authors, the book bump deal is like the gold standard, right? It's you have the biggest impact from a marketing point of view, and maybe you someday will man up and talk about what we think about marketing. But he was pretty excited about this. We had actually a book bump deal for Spirit Sight last summer and did pretty well with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's self-published, and he contacted his editor, and he was pretty excited about it. His editor said, we got to rewrite the first 7 chapters of that book. He said, the rest of the book works, but those first 7 chapters don't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, oh, okay. Well, he rewrote them, and he basically saw an immediate impact when he did that. That book is on perma-free, which means it's always free because this is the first in the series, and it has like 7,200 reviews, which is amazing. And what happened after he did the rewrite is that all the other books in that series started selling well. So what was happening was basically that first book was holding back the series because people weren't responding that well to it. So when I heard that, I'm thinking, Spirit Sight's done pretty well. It's gotten good reviews.
Won a lot of awards.
It's
gotten great reviews.
Yeah. Right. But it doesn't have anything like 7,200 reviews. And it is the first book in the trilogy. So it could be that, and, like I said, we had a book bump deal. We sold a lot of books. So there's a possibility that, and some people love these books. I mean, I had people flag me down on the street, right? Stop their cars. People come up to me that I barely know at the Husky where we drink. Cheers. And tell me how much they love the book. My cousin messaged me and said her son loves the books. One of Deb's coworkers is reading them for the second time. So a lot of people are very passionate about the books.
Right.
But there's always a possibility that they just don't have the broad appeal. Right.
Broad commercial appeal.
Right. So I started thinking, well, maybe I should get a developmental editor to look at Spirit Sight Volume 1 and make some recommendations for how it could be more commercial. I don't even know if that's possible with my publisher, if that's something I could do, but I was thinking maybe that's something I should look into. So Devin and I have had that discussion over the last couple of days, and so that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Well, but part of it is it's a little tricky because the world is this 12-book series. They all connect with each other. And the build-up and the world building, even if it doesn't serve that first book, serves the series. So if that information is missing, does the series hold up? That's that's one question. The other question is, and I've been doing a lot of like how to market a book, blah, 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 blah. And they said, find your target audience and who specifically it is. And like, find out who that is. And I'm like, well, okay, so here's the target audience. It's me and Ross. We're the target audience. We're it. Like if we like it, that's the target audience. So because she was this person who knows how to market books, and no shade, absolutely no shade. She knows what she's doing. She said, well, email your listserv, the people that are on your newsletter. I'm like, yeah, okay. And she said, ask them, like have them do a survey to find out who they think would like the book. And, right now, what it appears, it's women who don't usually read fantasy are is our audience. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know how. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
we
have
start going,
a lot of older women who never
yeah,
read fantasy, love
who
books.
love the books. Love
So
the books.
I don't know how you market to those women.
They read a lot.
but
A lot
but
of them are
yeah,
retired. They read a lot, but it's
there's another author from our publisher Black Rose Writing that Deb read recently, and
mhm,
he says, and he's been
yeah,
really successful, and he says
very
specifically,
successful.
I set out this to say, what market should I write to? What
Yes,
is the best market, and how do I construct a book that's going to appeal to that market?
yes.
Um,
No shade. The books are good. I like the books. He's a good writer, and he writes about what he knows. All of that is good. All of that good. But he started with the market in mind first.
yeah,
And everything he's done has been, and don't get me wrong, like I I I think that is a way to go. It
yeah,
makes all kind of sense with a lot of the things we do in our lives. We're like, where the hell do we want to get to? Like our retirement, all the others, like what jobs will get us to where we want to be when we retire? What place do we want to live in to get us the life we want to live? Like that, like outcome based. I have no trouble with that at all. Um, Ross and I picked jobs and spaces and whatever, like communities like where's a good place for our kids to go to school? What like that I think is totally logical. This is not
yeah. See, the
that.
thing is, when I started writing, you know, what, 4 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, and I went to that coffee shop and started writing. Um, I didn't. I wasn't even thinking about writing a novel. I didn't even think that was possible. I mean,
Right.
I had authors were like this mythical thing. I didn't think that I was capable of that. So I started writing scenes that I
Yeah.
like, about characters that I liked, and I eventually let Deb read one of the scenes, and she was very kind. But I could tell her reaction to it wasn't maybe what I wanted, and I decided, okay, I'm going to become a good writer. And so I did what we do as academics. We dove in. I dove in. I
Research
read lots of books,
about how
websites
to write.
about how to write,
Yeah.
and I went online and looked for courses, and I found what's called All Writers Workshop, and run by Kathy Giorgio. And I took a class there, something like how to start your novel or something like that. And I would send in pages every week, and she would give me feedback. And at the end of that, she said, "You have what looks like the start of a novel. Do you want to have some coaching?" I said, "Sure." Right. So I started this thing never thinking that I was going to be able to write a novel, much less write something that's going to be commercially successful.
Which it has
And
been.
I wrote what I loved, what I wanted to
Right.
see, the characters that I loved. And so I didn't start from where that other author wrote,
Correct.
and so, the fact that some people love it is very gratifying. But you want more people to like it. And so
Yes.
the question is,
What we want is a community
yeah,
of of people reading the books that love it, that goes a little bit beyond. I mean, clearly, we've had reviews from other countries. We've had reviews like people in many places, people we don't know, have read the books and loved them, but we want.
yeah, it's like on Amazon, Argon Blue has an average rating of 5,
Yeah,
right? But there are only 9 reviews.
right.
So it's people who read it. No
Love
one,
it.
they love it, but not that many people are reading it. So the question was that came up when this author told me about this rewriting half the book, and he's self-published, so it's easy for him to do that. If you're
Right.
self-published, you want to update the manuscript. It's just a few clicks. It's simple.
Correct.
So the question is, we started talking about is,
Yeah.
would I give Spirit Sight to a developmental editor and have them tell me, how do you make this more commercial, and would I change it? So that was the question.
And the
So,
answer is,
well, one of the issues is that we have this world that we're already
as I
5 books
mentioned,
into it. It's altogether going to be like 12 books. It's a very intricately connected world. All
right,
the books
all of them.
create a very complex, system of, interconnected events. And so to change one book, you have to
Pulls a
make sure that
thread.
it's still consistent.
It pulls a thread.
Yeah, it's complicated at this point. So
Yeah.
that's one issue. The other issue is, do I want to change it to make it more commercial?
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to.
No, because here's the thing. We were just over at the Husky. I was reading his pages for Ostera, the next book, loving them. We were talking about the next steps. Ostera is kind of almost there, which is a little crazy. We were writing for each other. And we just kind of hope. And this is kind of emblematic of Ross's and my life in general, is we're a dyad of weirdos. And we're hoping other weirdos join us. But we're okay.
Ultimately, it's what's
if
important.
It's just us.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I firmly, and this is one of the reasons I want to do Argon Fair. I want to pull in all the weirdos. And maybe they're not reading weirdos, but I want to create that. So this is me now, not Ross, because Ross is like, yeah, go ahead. I want to create a space for people who like Awkward Nerds. Awkward Nerds is a venue, an event organizer in Milwaukee that does phenomenal things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in no way them, right? And we're mostly about the books, but I love the vibe, and I want to create that vibe for the world of Argon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, really.
Yeah.
So if you're an awkward nerd who's interested in weird stuff, just hang with us. We are happy to buy you a beer. You show up at the Husky, you will get a beer. And maybe a book. We will maybe give you a book. So
right. Yeah. So that takes us to our time. So
that's it. We will talk with you next week, and we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
No idea. And neither do you. Bye. Cheers.